All right, we are back in live, folks. Okay, so apologies for that. Um, okay, all right. So with that being said, moving right along, we have all of the misled moguls centered at Felgrath Tower. You have come from Barius Nilo's tomb. You have the ink that you need to transcribe the spells, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you have seen these large armies amassing. Okay. All right. So what are we doing, folks? We've got everybody centered at the Felgrath Tower. I've got, like I said, several armies. Some of you are getting drunk, I understand. What else? Who else? How else?
I mean, Merrick's not getting drunk.
No, I think it's chocolate. Just having a friendly drink.
Okay.
I'm going into Felgrath
Uh-huh.
Tower and seeing who all's there.
Okay. Well, Maggie is there. The it looks as though the Phoenix franchise uh, crew, maybe not the actual members themselves yet, but the crew that help them run their ships and what have you are there, and you can hear them kind of chatting and what have you, telling and regaling tales of squid and giant creatures that they had run across and run into. Uh,
Takra hears them all talking about their adventures, and she's like, "Well, get a load of this." And she starts talking about zob goblins and vampires, and she's trying to like listen to my stories.
all right, everybody's kind of telling tales about what their respective groups have or have not done. Um, and everybody's getting a good sense of camaraderie here. Lokar, uh, you have been transported from the mountains to a facility into a small, what appears to be an older, build-wise, an older dwarven outpost with possibly some human embellishments on it, i.e., a large freaking tower in the middle of it, which dwarves aren't typically known for building too many towers, unless they're in the size of mountains, etc. So, with respect to that, there is quite a large tower in the center of this town. Obviously, human in construction, but the other domiciles, buildings, even the sewer entries and things of that nature remind you very much of dwarf and dwarven architecture.
So Lokar will just kind of stop and admire the dwarven architecture since his clan is closely linked with the dwarves in the mountains.
Okay.
We have treaties and whatnot.
Okay.
And then he'll make his way to the tavern for several mugs of mead.
Very good. Okay, and so with that, you are having your mugs of mead and enjoying yourself in merriment and having a glorious time with that. Who else here is drinking with Lokar? Anyone? Or are you guys kind of all just at the bar doing your own thing?
Takra's drinking with the sailors.
Okay. All right. Stelios, move him over here. All right. Feel free to drop I will. I will. You should already have characters on here, but if you don't, feel free to drop them.
All right, I got 2 to drop. Oh well, I guess
Mhm.
Phoenix isn't here yet.
They're not quite. Not quite. They'll be here shortly.
Is this me, Joe?
Yeah, I see you moving.
Oof. I'm
Oh
gonna have to
wait,
get it.
that's Lokar.
Yeah,
We're.
I'm pinging up here.
Oh yeah. That is Irish there, and then you. Where are you at? Steve. Steve. Where is Steve? Steve, you might just drop yourself back on here. I think I took you off.
Righteous.
Okay. So everybody here, uh, again, is present. And so, with that being said, um, there's drinks, there's merriment, there's stories being told of wyverns and large squids being destroyed, and the Phoenix franchise found themselves in a wyvern's cavern, and uh, has brought upon themselves splendor and glory to regale the rest of the crowd with, and they're kind of going on and on about their drink and whatnot, and their riches and what have you. Um,
Speaking of the Wyverns, Joe, did me and Steve get the Wyvern armor?
We'll get back to that. So, with respect to where you're kind of at in the tavern itself, Maggie says, we've brought. Get into my Maggie voice. We've brought everybody together here, and what we're trying to do is figure out how to start and how to go about this. I understand that you were able to accomplish your task. She's looking at
Home
Zell
is Maggie
and
speaking.
Kakra and Aether.
Yes.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
Okay. She says so you got the ink then, and we're able to get these things transcribed then.
Yup.
Yep, and guess what? It translates to gibberish, and oh, guess what? No war. Guess the game.
Oh, Zell, you're not going to give up this ink willingly?
No, I was just joking.
Oh. Okay. Um so uh you have the ink in hand, and she has people ready to get to work on those incantations whenever you're able to give her the ink.
And I hand her the ink.
Okay, she gladly takes it, uh, and she says, "I'll make sure it gets to our scribes as soon as possible." Uh, she says, "We need to decide exactly how it is we are going to enact and go about this conflict, this war."
Are the matriarchs there in the room anywhere?
Uh, the mate, the matriarchs
Yeah.
from
One's with mother.
oh, your mom,
Yeah.
the matriarchs of your family. Yes, they are present.
Where they at?
They are in the same place you left them. Ah, complete with the entire fam family. All right, I'm trying to get another character in here. Uh, Dang it! Why does everything have to be difficult on that end? All right.
Right.
Yeah. Now, all I'm trying to invite Bugs here, and he needs an actual link for his phone, I guess. So I'm trying to get that.
He should have. I've connected to Zoom on my phone. All you gotta do is put the number in.
Oh,
Matter of fact,
There we go. Bam. All right, there we go. And so, with that being said, Maggie says we need to figure out how it is we're going to go about things here. I understand that we need to have each blade in place when the gates open, and the dwarves and the wood elves to the north, uh, along with the high elves, have agreed that they will be the first line of defense when the gates open. We understand that the Phoenix franchise is bringing back some divisions of troops to help as well. They have definitely done their task as asked, so Runewin will definitely be given his due respect in that. We also understand that they are bringing with them a small fleet, uh, so they may very well be okay.
Will be okay.
She says, "I'm sorry, I got a text from Bugs." She says, "So that'll very much be." I'm off track here. Sorry. Hmm?
Random background noise.
Oh, she says, so you'll definitely want to decide kind of how you want to do things, but it sounds like the seas may very well be handled by uh, some of the people that the Phoenix franchise actually brought with them. So, with that being said, she has everybody kind of sit to the table. Lokar, you're bringing some information about these camps as well. Let me get that pulled up real quick on the battle map here.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm getting. There it is. Meep. All right, we are logged in. This is Ink Carnet. I use it for the world map. I'm loading it up real quick. So
Nope, not gonna do it.
Okay.
so confused. What's going on?
All right, so here is Agrosia as a whole. Let me share my screen with y'all so you can see it. Make everybody really big. Okay. All right. So you can
Alright,
see
I'm
my map.
finally here.
You can see my map now. So, as Maggie pulls up a battle map of the mountain range, she says, I understand a couple of things. We were able to get some intelligence about how the Varashian Navy works. There was a brave group of travelers down near the way of where Cochra's from there who were actually able to uh, foil a plan by a goblin group, and they got word that there was going to be some some attempts at overthrowing the Elasian nation. Now, from what we understand, we have a captive pirate down there. Uh, she is spilling the beans a little bit on how their navy operates. So the Elasians are going to be key in ensuring that the Varashian navy does not attack the ports of Felworth, Sorgil, and the areas of the South Draw Gates. Now, places like Hilldale and Trusk Swamp, those kinds of places we're not so worried about. We don't believe that they'll actually get that far. Now, as far as the northern seas are concerned, we've talked to Lady Kazar, and she's offered her navy in the and she of course understands how their navy works in the north there, and so the Northern Varashian navy likes to use a lot of brute force and might, so she's going to use subversive tactics with her navy in the north to kind of disrupt anything they might be trying to do to the Eldrian nations. The North Draw gates, the dwarves are going to do their best to hold those regions. Now, where you come into play is these central regions here. We need you to unlock all of the gates. Okay? Once the gates are opened, we have elves, we have dwarves, and we have the centaur divisions that said that they would give us a hand as well. Um, and the several of the Pekenyan nations uh, have given us troops as well. So as far as the uh, troops heading through the gates, first and foremost, they should be able to hold back anything that would rush the gates initially. What we're going to need you folks for, from what I understand, okay, is subversive tactics and maybe even leading a couple of military operations yourselves. So, first and foremost, we need to get the gates unlocked. What I'm trying to figure out is once these gates are unlocked, how do we sneak you past the war itself? Lady Kazar's given us some good details
Okay. That hurt.
about some of the royals and some of the uh, military leaders that we can take out or capture, and that will actually put us in a better situation. The war front itself, I think we'll be able to manage. What we're going to need you folks for is infiltrating the lines, getting across things. Phoenix franchise, we've got a list of pirates and scallywags that'll need to be apprehended and taken care of. May even result in you doing some island hopping. I hope you're okay with that. Your efforts will be mostly located in the southern districts of Vorash, near the South Draw gates.
I am fine with that. I want to go and put the end to this evil.
Okay.
There's a
Now,
fight to be fought.
So are we saying that the Phoenix franchise crew is here now?
yes, the Phoenix franchise crew would be arriving at this point in time. They would have marched in with the troops. Uh, the actual crews of the ships themselves arrived a little early to get camps and things set up appropriately for the rest of the Phoenix franchise group. Um, Now, because all of the space is taken at the end, the crew themselves will be the ones staying in the camps. Anybody who is part of the Misled Moguls or Phoenix franchise would have a room at the tower or at Cocker's watering hole.
Um, so, as Lokar, I would say, my people can assist with opening the northern gates.
So near Sturmvolk, that's actually uh, one of the regions where there are a lot of tribal activities, so that makes sense. A lot of orc tribal activities as well, for that matter. Sturmvolk is actually one of the last orcish strongholds, um, or excuse me, one of the last barbarian strongholds in the area. Um, Not orcish, barbarian strongholds. Lots of different barbarian clans, very tribal, very tribal. Um, so with respect to that, that makes sense. Uh, Now, what Lokar tells you is that each one of these little areas here, these little villages, are being cleared out or have been being cleared out, and recently more and more military troops from Vorash are arriving at these gates. Um, the bright light shot into the sky was the reason for said item or said buildup of troops. Now, the other thing that is kind of being discussed that Lokar kind of gives you is that there has been a group of what the Varashian military has rumored are champions um, that actually belong to the Knights Protectorate of the Varashian Empire, and that they have been going around and claiming up old artifacts for the Varashian military and the Varashian royalty. They've been kind of also clearing out some of these Orcish villages on the borders there, and that these champions wield weapons that most folks uh, could not fathom. So that is the intel you're given from Lokar as far as what's been going on the borders on the Vorash side. Uh, Maggie says that she believes that the Phoenix franchise's efforts would be uh, most useful in the southern seas, and that there's actually a place that she has in mind for them to travel to that's going to quite possibly change the tides of the war. Misled Moguls, she has a list for Zell uh, and uh, a list for the Misled Moguls themselves. Zell, your list is a list of prominent figures within the Varashian Empire that she wants you to find and eliminate. The list for the actual Misled Moguls is a list of people that they want apprehended and/or terminated as well. Um, so the
Are you
list
thinking
that
like a sheriff or something?
what's that?
Are you thinking I'm like a sheriff or something? That's not me.
Maggie says. Maggie says, "Well, that's all good and well, Zell, but Felgrath Tower is growing, and our population is, becoming quite large now. We need to be properly represented in the territories, right? I mean, what better way to represent, since we can't really give up a whole lot of civilian troops, than to send in a group of specially trained individuals, so to speak?
Yeah, exactly. Find some trained individuals, not me.
Come on, Zell. All right, tell you what. Once the gates are open, you come back here. We'll talk about it a little bit. We'll get it worked out. Cochra and Aether can take care of the misled moguls while you're gone.
What? That didn't work out so well last time, just saying.
One time on the ship, Copper.
Y'all don't listen to a word I say. Y'all don't listen to a word I say.
Uh-oh.
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
Exactly.
He's not with our group, Copper.
That's why I should have been breathing fire on the necks.
Just get the shinies.
So what I'm hearing you say, Maggie, is basically we have to figure out, how did the chicken cross the war road?
My understanding is you should be able to find a way to get across the mountains and past the enemy forces.
Why
be-
did the chicken cross the war road?
I've got a list here for you.
To get to the other side.
Aha! That's very true. She laughs a whole bunch. She gives you another cup of ale.
She's like, all right, cool. All right, sweet. Drinks, yeah.
She says, so you understand, of course, that in asking you to do these operations, to do these missions, that you will be getting paid handsomely by the several different military groups that are funding this war effort. So, Zell, it's not as though you will go empty-handed. For each one of
Oh,
these,
I understand that. But I told you guys this at the very beginning. I will not fight in the war.
well, I thought you'd be okay with this then. This isn't necessarily fighting in the war. It's more like getting rid of some bad guys.
Yeah, about that.
Well, Zell, I'll tell you what. She takes the list back from you. Lady Kazaw's given me these lists. She says if we take these people down and we get them taken care of, then we're going to be able to have a lot easier time with our forces getting through. Their leadership will crumble if we can get all these folks.
Oh, I fully understand that. You hear that, team? You guys take care of them.
Zell, okay then, how about this? Since you've been leading this troop for so long, why don't you take a vacation? You can open the gates, and then we'll let you take a break. How's that?
That is what I told you guys.
Tell you what, there's some
Tucker's
problem.
gonna look at Zell with big eyes and be like, "You're gonna without me."
Well, tell you what, Zell. There's some land over in AS that I've been looking at. I need somebody to go in and test it out for R&R purposes. Why don't you go take a look at it after we open the gates? And Kakra, Aether, you two can handle things, right?
Exactly. Things would be in good after opening the gates.
Well, it's either that or I grab somebody that can lead the group. I mean, Merrick?
No, no, that's okay. No.
Depends
Okay,
on
so here's
if we're
what's gonna
splitting.
happen. When Zell's gone, I can be in charge, but no one listens to me, and we do what we want anyway. So let's just make me in charge, and we'll do what we want.
As long as the job gets done, she hands you the lists.
Okay, I got the list.
Strategy.
There are 10 names on the sheet.
Cocker folds a list into a paper airplane and throws it at Merrick.
Yeah, Bugs is just gonna look at the rest of his group, just like, what is going on with these idiots? He whispers that to his nearest ally.
Let's see, I would say that would be Runewin. Are you out there, Runewin?
That,
Are you out there?
yeah, what's up?
Judson asked you, what's up with these idiots?
You kind of answered your own question.
So they,
Cocker folds another one of the lists into a paper crane and goes to Ruin and starts pecking him in the head with it. She's like, I remember you. Peck, 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 peck.
See what I mean?
Peck, 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 peck.
so you guys are, yeah, yes, exactly. So, I was reading the chat log real quick. So you guys are all kind of bunched together here. And she says, Maggie says, look, I understand that all of you, are here for specific reasons. Zell told us in the beginning he didn't want any part of the war. I didn't ask you to be part of the war. The swords chose you for a reason. So it's up to you to unlock the gates. After you unlock the gates, if you want to walk away from those blades, that's fine. I understand. But if you want to take up the call and you want to continue the fight, Misled Moguls, we would greatly appreciate that. Now,
That is what I am here for. I am here to end the evil and stop what is gonna be the doom of all of us.
she kind of looks over at Bags. Bags, we understand that, and we're very happy to have you aboard. We really are. And so, with that being said, Misled Moguls, you have a list. You got 10 names. We need those names, and we need those people. It's very important. Uh, as far as the Phoenix franchise is concerned, we've got an operation for you. We have a mission. Uh, now,
Tarek Ironmane, Wyvern Slayer Extraordinaire.
Oh no, not this
I
guy.
have a question.
Hawker shoots a spitball at him.
What's stopping us from just sailing straight to Vorash and ramming it up the tailpipes?
well, it's funny you should ask that, Tarek. We understand that for a while now, um, there have been dissidents in the lands of Orash. We understand that there are people that would stand up against the royal family, and well, Lady Kazar being one. Thank you again, Lady. Miss Kazar, Lady. What? Again, your first name. Uh,
Aviana.
Aviana. I could never pronounce it right. I apologize. So, Aviana, we thank you again for being present and being a part. There, you see in the flesh dissidents, folks that would work against the Varashian military. Because of the capture of the pirates that we had captured in the Alasian territories, we understand that there's an isle. It's an entire island where dissidents are taken in the Varashian Empire. So our goal here is to eventually have the Phoenix franchise do kind of a prison break, so to speak. But first we have to gather intelligence on that. So y'all are actually going to be doing a little bit of undercover work for us.
My question then would be, if Vorash is such an evil place, what kind of people were evil enough to warrant being secluded from them?
What?
I understand the question, but the way we understand it is that there are people that were left behind. For instance, Mr. Alundra, I know he's got family over the mountains, granted ancestral, but still family. Um, the Nielos is a prime example of this situation gone wrong. Some of the wood elves stuck there. Hell, some of them even went underground and fornicated and became part of the drow, the dark elves communities. Um,
Fornicated.
so realistically speaking, you have to consider that there probably are dissidents there that didn't like what happened thousand years ago, hundreds of years ago, and of course want to push back. We understand that there are still pockets of wood elves in the deeper, darker regions of the Alandran forests. The previous Naelo kingdom that are still operating against the Vorash. Now, thanks to Mr. Lokar here, we also understand the champions there, as they are called, of the Knights Protectorate of Vorash have been hunting them down, but just the same, there are dissidents there, and we could very well rise them against Vorash. Now, again, because of Lady Kazar, Aviana's agreement to help the western nations of Agrosia, they have also agreed to restore her to her previous lineage of the Varashian Empire, but she's agreed to keep it within the confines of the previous country itself and not attempt to cross those channels again, thus maintaining a peace on the east side that we can all agree with.
While Maggie's going on and on,
Uh-huh.
Aether's going to look at the matriarchs and say, "So, does Mother want a public or private coronation?"
Your mother kind of looks at you and gives you that same evilish grin as though you know she has things planned for later. And uh, she says, public, of course. Everyone must know who their new lady will be.
Then
And,
you'll be pleased with the trinket I have.
oh, were you able to obtain the crown?
Yep, no strings attached.
She is very, very, very gleeful at the idea that you have the crown with no strings attached. Um, Maggie says, Misled Moguls, I understand that you've just completed your task, and it's taken you quite some time to get through the old tombs of Barius Nialo, that you brought back the ink so we could get the incantations going. It's going to take at least a 30-day period for us to get this all taken care of. So for the meantime, I would ask that you go ahead and take your downtime. All of you can take a little R&R. The armies themselves are going to get prepped and head to the mountain ranges, where they will set up camps at the lower edge of the mountains and ready themselves for battle at the time B when they are needed.
Yeah, Maggie, you could say that our mission really sucked because we ran into vampires. It sucked.
Yes. Now, Maggie, just something that
I
actually.
thought I put a burning
Maggie.
impression on them.
What's
That
so
one did look a little ashy.
she she says I'll need to go over with you uh, discussions of franchisee later on. It would appear, and for next session, Misled Moguls, you will. Uh, Maggie's letting you know that within that 30-day period, you will actually be having a meeting with the powers that be from Acquisitions Inc. That they are ready to discuss a handover of all assets and operations, being that they feel as though they're leaving the operation in good hands, and that this realm is in good hands for being protected. Um, so they're actually wanting to meet with you in the next within the next couple of weeks, and we can discuss those arrangements next session. All right. Sorry it took me a little bit to get kicked off.
It's not your fault.
Seems like I've got everything in order now, so I'm happy about that. Let's table Misled Moguls. Let's table you folks for next session. Um, we'll do a brief 15-minute intermission. Uh, I do want to get some more Phoenix franchise Misled Mogul overlap, and we'll set up sessions where we can make that happen. Okay. But for now, what I want to do is uh, I want to ask you guys real quick. Let's do 15 minutes, 15-minute intermission. We'll get kicked off with Misled Mog, or excuse me, Phoenix franchise. We'll run them until right around 12:30ish, and then we'll kick off from there. Okay? So give me just a moment. Let's take a quick 15-minute break. If you're watching at home, we'll be back in 15. Just a brief intermission here. So bear with us. Thank you. folks, we are back and live in action here. We have the Phoenix franchise kicking off for the rest of the evening. Going to be running until about 12:30 this evening. Just kind of get them centered in for the war effort and what they're going to be up to. All right. So for the last few months, you have been traveling by ship. You have, and actually let me get this pulled out. You've been traveling by ship. You have had close access in relation to the uh, Leostad tribal armies and the Centaurian armies of the northern regions, the Wood Elves of the mid regions, um, and the Centaurians of the southern woodland regions. And that was the great Selenian forest nations. Okay. They have sent divisions. You have not had really any great luck with the Loxodon tribes uh, per se, but it doesn't mean that they won't as well participate if needed. So you were able to get those groups of people to come along with you from the get-go. So leaving from the port of Stockton and heading to the city of Aeus. There are smaller ports along the regions, which will be pocked on the Selenian maps later on when I actually blow them up. But Stockton's probably the largest and can actually handle that group militarily. And with that being said, it takes you about 2.5, 3 months as per usual. Maybe 2.5 this time around because you're actually going with the wind a bit. Um, So, well, actually, you're going with the wind quite a bit on this trip. So, yeah, about 2.5 months, roughly, to get back to the city of Aeus, and about 3-4 weeks to get from city of Aeus to Felgrath Tower. Then, so with that being said, you got about a 3-month trip ahead of you. They do have blacksmiths, they have traders, they have hunters, they have I mean, anything you could think a moving army would need, they have, and they have plenty of. Um, so, once you reach the city of Aeus, you'll of course need to concern yourself with portage and who you're going to leave with the boats, right? Uh, and decide, from there, what you are kind of trying to figure out and do. So, Uh, you got 3 months before you hit Felgrath Tower, and then we'll zap to where we just were. What did you plan on doing in those months while heading over?
Well, I probably would have been training with the uh not the Drake, the Wyvern the baby Wyvern I got.
Okay.
And how is that going for me?
Well, I mean they're wyverns, right? So they age a lot slower than most other things. So I mean at this point, for the most part, you guys are you're kind of moving along with it. They've I would say that they with respect to hatching the eggs, you were actually able to get them to hatch. And the wyverns themselves, they're not very big yet, right? They're just kind of babies.
Well, I know I had one hatched one that I was training.
Oh, did you take the youth? You took the young one?
Yeah.
Okay, I kind of thought you guys killed that, but okay. Yeah, if you took the young one and you're training it, I mean, you're still very much interested in keeping it locked up with the bite marks and whatnot that you've acquired since starting to train it. It's been a less than jovial task. We'll put it that way. So it has not been the most fun getting this thing trained, but you're working on it. As far as the eggs, you would have been able to get them to hatch in those 3 months. You can travel with the wyverns. Um, the Leostad tribesmen and healers will work with you to ensure that they're kept warm and that they're taken care of. Um, they've got plenty of milk from the Leostad women that they're happy to supply for feeding the children. So no big deal there. Um, but whatever is needed, they have it. Um, there are uh, yeah, I mean, suffice to say, you have virtually a small moving society with you. So anything that you might want to try to get done, you know, whatever, I know Tarek, you've got to renegotiate contractual obligations. Wasn't there someone who was multi-classing?
Yeah, I was multi-classing. Rogue.
Who's the rogue in the group right now?
Well, I'm a fighter rogue.
Right. So you
I
would
don't know
be
that we have one.
Yeah, so you would be training with probably one of the rogues that works on the ship for the next couple of months as well. So your training would be
Yeah.
split between those two things, logically speaking. Tarek, I know you were kind of building your own weapon, kind of thing. Okay,
Correct.
okay, okay. Going to be looking to any of the outside help blacksmith wise, or are you just kind of doing this
No,
yourself?
so I
Or
I have smithing tools, so I would actually fashion the weapon myself, but I
so you
need
use the
outside help.
mobile forges then? Mhm.
I need outside help from an artificer to actually enchant it.
Okay, okay. um, something that's very doable. So what? So you're saying that basically you would talk to one of the uh, wood elves or one of the centaurs about possible enchantment. The Leostad tribal folks, they trade mostly for that kind of stuff. They're not a whole lot of artificers in the Leostad tribes. Um, So yeah, I mean they're happy to trade with you. Uh, the one of the centaurs actually will work with you on that. He does ask you what the blade brings to the table.
You talking to me?
Yep.
Okay. Um, so it's basically just a +2 mole. Like it's not magical or enchanted, right? Just yet.
No, no,
To
no. The weapon you look to trade. What does it bring to the table?
Oh, okay. So I have a +2 great sword called. I guess I can do this in character. Ah, yes, the Dawnbringer. I pull it out, and it begins to like glow brightly and light up the whole room for like 60 feet.
Hmm. You're in a small uh, probably. I would assume that if you're talking to a centaur, you're probably heading from Aes to uh, Felgrath Tower. So this would actually be later in the journey. Uh, but yeah, he says, and you're in a small centaur tent. Well, as small as a centaur tent can be. Uh, and he says, yeah, I'd be happy to trade for such a weapon. I've seen Sunbringers before. I really like this. It's a nice piece. Looks like it's elven made. Yeah, I would gladly uh, trade you for that. And so. With respect to that, you would be able to make your mall magical. And so, with that being said, I would say it's a +2 uh, magical mall. Um, and I mean, he's an artificer, so he doesn't really do a whole lot of fancy schmancy magic on them. For that, you'd need more of a wizard type figure and some time.
So looking at the actual artificer
Uh,
class, like their infusions,
sure.
um, the only two that I really think could benefit from was enhanced weapon, which it adds a +1 to attack and damage,
Sure.
or radiant weapon, which it would be a 6th level artificer, adds a +1 to attack and damage, and I can also basically it's kind of like Dawnbringer, where except Dawnbringer is permanently bright. This one I can expend a charge to light it up. That's radiant weapon. Has 4 charges.
I wouldn't see the problem with the second one. But take the +2 down to the +1 then. Yep, that'd be fine.
Okay.
Too easy, drill sergeant. Yeah, he's able to do that for
So,
you, and he believes it. He believes you. Between you two, you've made a good trade.
so the total pluses on the weapon, would that be 2?
Why?
If it's, are you saying it started at +1 and he enchants it? Because
Yeah.
okay,
Yep.
all right, that works.
Yep. Okay. So
Basically the same exact weapon, just a mole.
yeah, because the Wyvern scales and claw gives it the +1.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. And then for the crazy Dragonborn that we're making the Wyvern scale armor, you guys are able to obtain that throughout your couple month trip. Wasn't that both Irish and Steve that were looking for those things?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So what uh, what other things are you trying to do before getting to Felgrath Tower? Anything else? Runewin, any thoughts?
Not real. I mean, I don't have that much. If someone wants to enchant my either weapon or armor a little bit more, that'd be great. But I mean, I'm already at +2. I don't know if I can go to, or I don't know if I can go to a +3 or not. But
On the weapon?
uh, on all my armors and weapons, yeah, they're all +2s.
Yeah, yeah. That's at this point it's adding fancy smashy stuff. Um, which can be done. We just need to
Mhm.
talk it out, and that might be something to do off stage, um, as per what you're looking for. Maybe
I mean,
something.
aside from attuning my cloak to me, which
Mhm.
takes 1 day, so
Yeah,
that's not.
yeah.
I guess I can train my raptor more. Oh, I might be able to armor up my raptor with some like light armor.
Oh, that would work. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, you got a few. You take a few months there and kind of work on the armor and whatnot for the Raptor. And the men seem to be getting more proficient at seafaring, so that things seem well there. With respect to your arrival, does anybody else have anything, Judson? Anything at all you're trying to do before you? No, you're kind of booked. Marcus, thoughts? Anything you need to do? Anything at all?
Looking for magical shield.
Okay. Magical shield can be done. Um, are you looking for something that's already pre-built or something to fabricate that you're looking for specific qualities on?
Something that's already built, but specific qualities would be um, something that, well, there's something out there
Mhm.
called a arrow catching shield, which gives you a +2 bonus versus ranged attacks, but you can also become the target of a ranged attack if anybody within 5 feet of you gets shot at by any kind of ranged attack. So it's kind of a protection item, but it's kind of specific.
Okay. Let me see. Look here what I'm dealing with. Okay. Arrow catching shield. There it is. Okay. So instead of a +1, it gives you +2, like you said. Oh, that's in addition to its normal bonus to AC.
Yeah, it's only versus ranged attacks, but I mean
Yeah,
the extra bonus is only versus ranged attacks.
right. Yeah,
I don't know what it'll cost, but you know,
yeah,
I got
that
about 1,300 gold I can spend. Probably more than that after filching all the treasure from the Wyvern lair.
Yeah, I just haven't gotten around to that yet. I got a couple things to go over when I get around to it.
that's fine. We can take care of that stuff tonight too, either on or off camera. All right. So then, with respect to that, let me check the. I wonder what GMs are. I wonder if there's any. I found it. I found the arrow catching shield. Um, let's see what the magic.
I just didn't find it.
Yeah.
Cost.
Yeah. Price range is. Excuse me. They say the range is 500 to 5,000 depending upon the world, and what kind of world you're running. And my world is a pretty magic heavy world. So roughly, I'd say about 1,200 should probably do it for a shield like that.
Okay. Sold.
Okay. You're able to get yourself a hold of a shield. Okay. Arrow catching shield. That'll give you a +2. Whenever you need to go against somebody with arrows. Okay. Now that is specifically arrows, or is it any ranged attack?
It says against ranged attacks, so
Okay.
it's not specific to simply arrows.
Okay. Yeah, I looked at it in one of the other rule systems too, real quick, just to see what it was over there. Same stuff. Good stuff. Okay. Yeah, it's ranged. Projectiles, thrown weapons. Yeah, a little bit different description depending upon what system you're running with, but yeah, that's pretty solid little weapon. That's for little item. That's pretty cool. I like that one.
Fits with Marcus's personality too.
I think it does in the sense that you're kind of the protector. You're kind of like the go-to guy for the group for anything like that too, as far as I would say not only protection in battle, but advice and things of that nature.
Hanking it up.
Yep. Nothing wrong with it. Okay, so uh, let's see. Next on the agenda, anybody else have anything else? Okay. If not, we're gonna run you to Felgrath Tower.
Quick question, Joe.
There we go.
What would the scale mail from the wyverns entail?
I thought we had gone over the bonuses and such.
We have not, but we can
Oh,
do it whenever.
no, we can do that now. That's too easy. Scale mail. All right. Okay. Wyvern bone armor. All right, you can wear Wyvern bone armor, and it will up your AC to 17 at the base. You need to have at least a strength of 13 to wear it. You will be at a disadvantage for any stealthing.
Who's all getting one of those?
And it weighs 40 pounds. The two Dragonborn.
Said AC 17.
Uh-huh. Yep. Plus any other bonuses to AC you get. Well, now it is considered a... it is considered a scale type. Hold on a second.
Would
I'll
be
figure.
what? Heavy armor, right?
Yeah, it's a heavy armor.
Then I don't know if you want to do it before or later, Joe, but I want to talk to you about multi-classing a little bit.
Yeah, we could definitely do that. Scale mail gives you disadvantage. Dex modifier max is only 2. So you can only take 2 from your dex. So if you have bonus of 2 or more from dex, you can only use 2 of it. But that would take your AC to a 19. So can't really complain about that, right?
Not at all.
They actually consider that a medium armor.
Medium armor. Don't I get a bonus for that too?
But this is saying bone armor, so let me look that up real quick and see if it's not heavy.
Isn't there a proficiency bonus also?
Not for AC though.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So there we are. There we have it. Everybody's got their items done. We zap you to Felgrath Tower, where Maggie gives her announcement that the misled moguls will be apprehending 10 Vorashians not at large, but 10 Vorashians of influence, royalty or military-wise, and bringing them back, captured or otherwise, to the Western Agrosia, the Western Agrosian Alliance, or WAA, wah, if you will.
Nice.
Thank you.
Someone call the ambulance.
Well, my Vorash team make quick mincemeat of you, so no, I'm kidding. um, so, uh, so, yeah, the misled moguls have been given a list. When they head off to their respective beds and for the evening, etc. Maggie says, Phoenix franchise, as I said before, I have some special operations for you. I will be also asking you to do a little bit of island hopping so you can gather some intel and information. We have, from the Elasian nation, received a flag and a banner. And she unfurls the flag and banner, and it is actually a Vorashian banner with a pirate flag. And she lets you know that. One second. She lets you know that this was actually taken from a ship in the Elasian nation, and that they plan to use it to mask your presence in the South Sea. The flag itself is a generic pirate flag. The banner itself is a Vorashian banner. The Vorashian military hires pirates to head through the seas. They will oftentimes fly under different banners of merchant ships, different country flags, things of that nature. When arriving, they will take goods, foods, prisoners, people of importance, etc., that the Vorash deem a problem, and actually transport them back to the Vorashian nation, the Vorashian states, or take them to what's known as the Isle of Despondency. Uh, these, sorry, uh, this information was actually captured from two pirates that were extremely infamous in the South Sea. These pirates were known for their human trafficking or humanoid trafficking, as it were. Um, they were also known for theft of artifacts, magical items. Uh, the rumor has it that these two did so uh, because of the magics that the Vorash will actually use to keep folks alive, and that these two actually lived based on the borrowed time from the Vorashian sages. Therefore, it is very possible that a majority of these pirates that are employed under Vorashian terms are employed very much by their own livelihood in their own existence. Um, so, with that being said, their level of greed has come down to taking magics to bestow pseudo eternal life, if you will. Um, documents that they had taken from the two pirate ships also show that there was uh, heavy stores of gunpowder uh, delivered and whatnot to the Elysian regions by means of bandits, etc., and that at one point these goblin tribes had uh, planned to blow up the Elysian capital and maybe even overthrow some of the figures there. So, uh, big deal going on in Elysia for Varash to have done this much there, right? Uh, during peaceful times, let alone during war times, maybe it won't happen. But suffice to say, you do have a banner, you do have a flag to fly under for the South Sea, and your eventual goal, as Maggie puts it, and she'd be happy to give you more detail, is to head to this Isle of Despondency where they hold political prisoners. Um, very much the people similar to Aviana Khazar, Lady Khazar, who is a dissident of the Varashian nations. Many dissidents are taken from the different Varashian states as soon as they are found out and placed in this Isle of Despondency. So Maggie has discussed with the Eladrian nations, the Pekenyan nations, and the Dwarven nations of Alasia and draw, uh, and they've decided that it's worth their efforts to pay handsomely for the return of any dissidents that could give vital information on weak spots for the Varashian military, Varashian nation. Uh, with that being said, not so much being voluntold, you will be given the option to walk away from the company at this point because they're actually breaching contractual obligations from just jobs to war effort. So at this point in time, Maggie does sit you down and explains to you that under the employment of her and Runewind, your contractual obligation has always merely been for adventuring. They're actually asking you to step forward into the war effort at this point, so it's either time to renegotiate contractual terms, i.e., adding the war front to the contractual terms with a slight hike in pay, or walk away.
Bugs will nod and say, "Well, if you're paying me more, I'll gladly play along."
I mean, Maggie says, "Hey, look, I can't tell you it's any less harmful than what you've already been put through. The difference is we're talking political obligations versus personal moral structure. I can't ask you to fight in a war you may not be interested in being a part of. You're not in the military. You're part of a company. So, and yes, at this point, your character would need to make that determination of, am I willing to be a mercenary? Is that something I'm okay with?
That's what Bug is to begin with.
Right. Mercenary. Merc with a mouth.
Um, but Bugs, once everyone goes through and says what they want, he will want to talk to Maggie.
Good. Other thoughts?
My question for you, Maggie. Are these people in Vorash mostly of the evil kind?
Well, we understand that any of the dissidents that we would be interested in are peoples from the forest regions of the easts, um, as well as folks that I guess there's a coalition over there of agricultural folks that don't always get along with the military either. So,
I'm more asking about the people we would be fighting and slaying.
oh, sweetheart, they are the evilest of the evil. As far as I'm concerned, I'm not looking for prisoners on their end. Um, and to be fair, you don't really have any rules to follow per se when it comes to that kind of engagement and practice because you're not really part of a nation, so to speak. You're more just operating under your own. Um, I mean, we Felgrath Tower has not been recognized yet as its own district, its own state, if you will. So at this point, we're kind of independent. We do what we want, right? Um,
Either
and
way, you can bless the Lady Timora, for I shall join your effort.
very well then. Yes, Timora. She she writes something down in her book. Looks at you a little strangely.
Oh, do you not know of Lady Timora, the wonderful goddess of luck?
I talk to Mr. Stout Oak all the time about Henrod, and that's who we have, and that's fine. Timora's, I'm sure it's a lot of fun. She writes something else down. um, so at this point in time, uh, what I think is important here is that we understand that again. I'm asking you if you want to be a part of this. It's your own morals. No objections then.
Why
She
are we going to war?
What
the
else are we gonna do?
the Vorashians have oppressed our people for a long time. The Vorashians have been waiting for these gates to open for over 1,000 years. They want the gates to open so that they can finish their conquest. We've been lucky that the Elasians came up with the steam technologies they did before these fools learned how to tame the wyverns they have. Not to mention, well, as you can see, our naval brigades have already been broken. We apparently can't keep control of the seas, so it's only a matter of time before they go around the mountains and come to us. So we figure why not bring the fight to them, right?
So we're opening the gates?
The misled moguls will be opening the gates. We've got militaries assembling at the gates themselves to be the first wave.
Okay. Who's prosecuting this war?
Well, the nations of Eladria, Pequenia, Draw, and Alasia. Felgrath Tower and the misled moguls, we just fell into it. The swords was something that Acquisitions Inc. told our people about. And they're not even from this realm. They're from where these two are from. She points at the two Dragonborn. She hired our people. They told us they hired our people. They told us that they were interested in making sure that they could open franchises to help those in need and protect those in need and also make a profit. And so when they did so, they also had told us about some swords uh, that we would may be interested in finding, and there just so happened to be that we did. And when we found them and the law came with them, our team jumped to the occasion, and they have a stake in seeing this world return to order, as opposed to knowing that there are people over those mountains being subjugated to slavery and terrible living conditions. People still have family over there, and to the elves, it's no drop in the bucket. 1,000 years
That
to them, you know.
well, I don't know that I can commit to being a conscript of the adventuring company in the war if the Draw Kingdom wants to recall me.
If they decide that they need to recall you, then that's what we'll do. We'll send you there. For now, if you're okay traveling with the Phoenix franchise, I'd like to see you do that and see what we can do to help out with the Isle of Despondency there.
Yeah, until till I get orders otherwise, I'll stick with Captain Runewin.
All right, Mr. Runewin, what say you? Are you willing to take up this group of where we travelers and continue on with the mission?
I'm fine with it.
Very good. Very good. She says the first place I'm going to ask you to travel to, and again, this is something that we need you to go and begin collecting information at first, so we can decide exactly how to go about infiltrating their oceans, their seas. Yes, you'll be traveling under disguise, but we want to make sure that we've got anything like code words. We want to make sure we've got anything that we might need to travel in these seas. Now, we do have some books and some ideas on where to find some folks. And what we're going to send you is we're going to send you down to the western side of the Elysian nation. This is where I'd like you to start. There's a contact down there for one of these captains. And that contact is actually located in the area known as Fellworth. You'll find a windmill and lighthouses with some farming areas in that area, in that region. Now, Fellworth is very gnomish in its regards. Uh, there's a little bit of dragonborn there, mostly gnomish folk, and some humans. Maybe occasional halfling family, but realistically, when you're looking at Felworth, what we're trying to do is get you in link with the contact for this captain there. It's an older gentleman, and what we want you to do is we want you to take him captive, and we want you to find out how it is the captains were able to travel from our seas to their seas. Not only that, but we want you to figure out any code words, any information that you might need uh, to travel in their oceans. Is that something that you can handle?
Capture mission? We've never done capture missions before. Mostly killing for us. But
Well,
we might be able to just capture them.
I mean, it's very similar to the whole killing situation. It's just instead of killing them, you take them hostage and tie them up.
You just want that one guy alive, or all of them, if there are other people with him.
Uh, Rumor has it the gentleman has been living there some time. Uh, he's a contact that has lived there and has gained quite a bit of money in regards to that. He lives very nicely. What we would like is we would like very much for you to capture them. Anybody that's working for this individual is anybody that's working for this individual is off limits just based on the idea that they are uh, probably under his employ, with and really unknowing as to uh, the true nature of the individual.
So who is this guy?
One moment. Um, and so, with respect to that, uh, the gentleman that you're looking for, uh, okay, sorry. The gentleman that you are looking for is a gentleman that lives in Fellworth. He is a contact for the captains that traveled in this area. Uh, somebody,
Captains of what?
they are Vorashian pirates. They travel
Okay.
in from the regions. This guy is a former Vorashian pirate himself, according to the information that you have from the documents retrieved from the couple of captains that were killed, captured in Drakkar. And basically, this individual has received quite a bit of coin, and the only thing there is really the address of the individual, um, and a
We don't
pass and a
we don't
pass a
we don't
pass
have a name or anything?
no name, but there is an address and a password upon knocking at the door.
Is there any limits to how we get the knowledge from him?
Yes, capture and interrogate.
I meant in our interrogation techniques.
Well, I mean, you could fake it as well. I mean, it's completely up to you how you get them to give you the information. Like I said, you're under no regard other than your own moral structure. But the reality of the situation here is that you need to get this guy and you need to get the information he has so that you can safely travel the South Sea. It's your lives at stake here.
I'll look at the rest of the group and say, I think it's best for us to try and whittle our way through peacefully at first, at the very least. Convince him that perhaps we are starting merchants and just need some help getting started, knowing the ropes, perhaps. And if that doesn't work, we can always be a bit more forceful.
I'm pretty
I'm
sure he's not gonna lie to me.
Oh,
I'm no thespian.
yeah. Bugs kind of cracks his knuckles. Oh, they'll never lie to me, at least not for long.
I break heads. That's what I do.
You guys have a whole party of head breakers. Some head bangers too, but that's.
Yeah.
Torture's very fun.
Don't call me in until somebody needs whipped.
And while we are traveling through the various islands and perhaps meet some other people, do you wish us to perhaps spread some disinformation and maybe bring up some dissent among the peoples?
Well, I mean, in Fellworth, it's largely an Alasian city, right? An Alasian area where there's more larger farming communities. It's kind of like Drakkar. It's more of a district. There are quite a bit of gnomish families there. It's mainly comprised of like small villages, the occasional city here, but as far as the city's concerned, they're not like these huge metropolises, right? They're like your modern day Mansfields, but like just hut and hovel kind of things. They're nothing like skyscrapers or towers or anything magnificent in that regard. Mostly just farming communities. Does that make sense? Um,
Yeah.
Can you give us an idea on the map where we're talking about?
yeah. Felgrath
Change the
actually,
scene.
excuse me, Felworth. Yes, I sure can. Felworth actually has a docking district as well that will allow you safe portage there. Give me a second. And I'm going to share my screen on Zoom here for the Zoomers. And those at home can see what I've got shared here as well. Fellworth, as you can see, is the southwestern region.
I don't see the map.
Wrong screen.
Oh, sorry. 1 second. I don't know why it shared that one. That's really silly. All right. There you go. So you'll actually be heading down, back down south. You can stick closer to the shoreline this time, and if you need to resupply, you can stop in Hilldale or perhaps maybe even Drakkar. Drakkar is where they were actually taken.
They who?
Oh, excuse me. Drakkar was actually where the captured pirates were taken. Um, there were a husband and wife. The husband was actually offed, and the wife was captured. Um, there is Captain Godwin Bradley, known as Captain Godwin Golden Eyes Bradley, and then his wife Ira Evilgrin Bradley. She was actually apprehended and brought to justice, and that's where actually the documents had come from. Um, they were pirates and bounty hunters for what's known as the Varashian familial courts. So they would actually go out and seek people that had run from the ancestral families. They actually, from the paperwork that was found, these pirates or bounty hunters, in some cases, actually sought out the ancestors, the ancestral ancestors of these dissidents, right? So not only would they jail the dissidents uh, in Vorash, but they would go and find the ancestral members of those families on the other side of the mountains and take them to the Isle of Despondence as well, just in the event that any word would be gotten to them that their family members had been taken.
Where's this isle you're talking about?
She pulls the map of Agrosia out. The Isle of Despondency is actually located here. So you'll actually be traveling from, at some point, from Fellworth across the South Draw Gates area to the Isle of Despondence. Uh, your slated resupply would be in an area called Pitch City on the other side of the mountains. Uh, Pitch City used to be a human stronghold. What it is now, maybe Lokar's got some info on.
Is he still? Would he still be talking with this group?
Lokar probably at this point has had a long journey, probably crashed out. But if I mean that's your call.
Yeah, I would say he probably had left the meeting.
So, and I mean, it's not like they're probably eager to just jump right back on the trail. They just got off of it, so they may just wait till tomorrow, game wise, to chat with him. But yeah, so that's kind of what you're looking at. So, um, you're looking at heading from Fell down to Hilldale Drakkar region, then off to Fellworth, then from Fellworth onward, you know, wherever you might decide you want to head to. But the only region you're not heading down there is the Elasian capital of Alasia itself. But the Elasian nation is made up of Drakkar, Alasia, and Fellworth. A Dragonborn region in Drakkar, the Elasian region of the dwarves, and the Fellworth region of the gnomes, halflings, and humans that reside in the area. Again, the you know if you stop at Drakkar, you even have the opportunity to maybe interrogate Evil Grin Bradley or Ira, as it were.
Are we? Are we still talking to Maggie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just my
Um,
my voice is a little hoarse from hollering after all those boys today.
I was just gonna say, Tarek still wants to negotiate his contract.
Okay. So, more questions, thoughts, ideas.
Yes. What do we know of their religions and whatnot, if they have any at all?
We understand that the Vorashian nation are strict followers of Loki and Hel.
Hmm.
So they are strict followers of those specific gods. Um, so there's that. They also um, uh, yeah, they also have been dabbling in some of the darker arts. Uh, as far as um, Maggie can tell you about that, she's kind of daft as opposed to knowing more than what. In other words, the captured bounty hunter displays traits that are not human, and could very well possibly be a factor of these magical incantations that bounty hunters of this kind are utilizing to stay alive. Because
Well,
again, these two uh, folks, Bradleys, are pretty bad people, and they have been known for some time. In fact, of the last couple 100 years, their flags have flown on the seas. It's only just now that they've been brought to justice. So,
now all of their armies are at the gates, correct? Or for
Vor
the most part.
Vorash's militaries, according to Lokar, have been slowly building up on the Eastern Front for the last year. Um, why? Rumor has it the blades have started to be found. Um, and it wasn't until the sky lit up like the night a few months ago that they really started to ramp up their efforts. It was actually about a month ago that they really started to ramp up their efforts in getting Orcish tribes out of there and replacing them with Varashian military and Knights Protectorate troops.
Hmm. May I suggest some fear tactics, if possible? Use their religion against them. Send them signs from the gods, or perhaps monsters in their midst.
Maggie says the idea could be of use. We'll take anything psychological at this point too that we could use against them. The last time that anybody fought a Varashian, they were just as fierce and ferocious as any dragon would be. But no offense, uh, as she looks across the room at the dragonborn. Uh, but
Which
uh,
one?
all of them. But it, I mean, since then they've raided, the elvish, the wood elf vaults. Who's to who knows what they've got now and how strong they've gotten. The best we can do is send our strongest military brigades there and defend as strongly as we can back home if they would break those lines. So, and like I said, if we can get these uh, dissidents, and we can have the moguls get these people away from their power, and kind of get these two elements together, we may have a shot at usurping their control of several regions. And if we're able to do that, then we might be able to sweep this thing with very little death. If not, it's going to be a bloodbath on both
Yes.
sides. So the Eladrians want us to look at, and it is, of course, the Eladrians that would be the least vengeful, right? They have nothing to lose. The High Elves stand to leave whenever they feel, right? But it would be the High Elves, of course, that want us to um, hold with the possibility, or at least the most respects that of life, and ensure that the casualty count is as low as possible. They believe that repatriating these states may very well come may very well come with our ability or inability to treat them like people when we get there. Hearts and minds, so to speak.
Well, I know that if this should go on for a while, you must also look at making them fight amongst themselves as well as cutting off their supplies.
Thus the dissidents.
Yes.
We want to get a hold of them so we can get more information, and once we get that information, perhaps we'll be able to hit them a little bit harder where it'll hurt them.
Yes.
So, questions, comments, concerns, anything else we can help with?
Question.
Yeah. I want to go over my contract.
Okay. And it sounds like the Dragonborn have a question as well.
Are those Khazar nobles still in the room?
Yes.
There are Khazarian nobles in the room still.
I'm going to use Divine Sense to see if I can sense evil radiating from them.
Most assuredly, most assuredly, Lady Khazar is evil.
Yeah, you got this bright beam around her at this point. Yeah.
Yes, she is very much evil. Nobody's working with the Khazarians because they want to. They're working with the Khazarians because it's to their advantage, and the Khazarians are just dastardly enough, just evil enough, and just as atrocious enough to hold the reins over the Vorashian Empire, or at least what's left of it when you're done. So again, it's kind of an it is what it is situation, and I hate to say that. I hate saying that.
Working under the enemy of my enemy right now.
Essentially. But yeah, there's definitely evil emanating from the entire crew with the exception of the one Dragonborn.
Everybody in this room?
No. The whole Khazarian
Oh,
group.
okay.
Yeah. And so, I mean, they wouldn't have the lists. They wouldn't have all the information on the northern sector. Had it not been for the Khazarians. Thus, thus the reason that Sturmvolk is probably the best area for them to get through, right? So, with that being said, Tarek, what are your demands?
Well, it's not really much of demands, but I have a problem with authority. So I'll play along, but I really only answer. I really only answer to the Leonin chieftain and nobody else. So any orders I don't agree with, I want it in my contract that I don't have to follow them.
We're asking you to fight a war. We're asking you to step into a moral realm that you're not comfortable with in some regards. I'll tell you what. I'll put it in there under the discretion of Runewin and yourself, so that you and Runewin can have a discussion before each mission to decide and determine whether or not it's something that you should be a part of. So we can do this contractual obligation by the mission, if you will.
All right.
All right then. Is there anyone else that needs anything placed into their contract specifically? Very well then. I will make sure that your ships are stocked with enough food to get you, and water and mead. In fact, Stout Oak's ale should be just about ready to start distributing. So we're going to send you with some of that to deliver to the Elation Nation as well. We need to get that out there and start marketing that. We may be going to war, but there's still money to be made. She smiles. Stout Oak and Cockra have been working hard on that brew.
Drinking most of it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, they got to sample the goods. Um, okay, so
Yeah, but you get suspicious when it's the 20th barrel and they're saying, "Oh, this was no good."
well, you have your orders then. Are there any questions, comments, concerns, player to GM?
Nope.
All right. Is there any business, Runewind, that you need to handle between the two groups?
Not that I know of.
How's Sora?
How's what?
How's Sora,
Who's Sora?
the raptor?
Oh, she's fine.
Cracker will be glad to hear that.
Oh yeah,
I made some armor for her.
That'll help.
that's good. So any other stuff between the two groups that we need to cover?
Do need to tell Maggie something.
Okay. Is it a private something?
Uh, could be a little uh closer to her to tell her about what we learned in the tomb.
Okay. She'll be all ears.
So, Maggie,
Mm-hmm.
there may be another way, but it's going to be a rather rough road to get through the mountains without the gates opening.
Okay. Now that's something that I would love to hear.
So, when we were down there in the tomb, there's two routes. One is a trap.
Mm-hmm.
That trap is guarding a gate that is not covered by the magic of a mountain gate.
That would be like Barius, wouldn't it? I bet you he set that up.
The trap itself, well, you're going to need a lot of firepower to get through because it's a hive of zombie goblins.
Wow.
And any of their victims that went down there.
Wow. I can only imagine.
Yeah, it was a rough time getting Cocker out of there.
I can only imagine. That's why Cocker's not allowed to be on the on. That's why Cocker's not allowed uh, on the Phoenix franchise fleet ships because they're red goblins. All right. And I think there might be a few green now as well, even that are working for Runewind.
Either way, don't mention the G word around her.
Oh yeah, yeah, no goblin talk around Cockra. Um, okay, so that should prep everybody up for our next couple of sessions before I got to bring the groups together again. Because I'm thinking probably run some sessions in July where we can get the groups together physically, which would be a lot of fun. Um, okay. Questions, comments, concerns for the GM? Anything at all?
Just want to make sure we're level 10, correct?
You are level 10 at this point. If you have not leveled up to 10, make sure you level up to 10.
Moguls too.
The moguls need to level up to 10 as well.
Hey Joe,
Yes.
you were talking about actually changing a day and time. What day and time were you actually talking about changing it to?
Well, so just to finish up everything game-wise, we need to be at level 10. Okay. And then I will, as soon as we hop off here, I'll talk with you about that. Um, Folks, I just want to tell everybody thank you so much for watching tonight. If you're watching the re-recording or what have you, thank you again. You're watching an edited version. If you're watching a few months from now, uh, just the same. We want to thank all of you for being awesome and sticking with us and watching. We want to thank Arkenforge. We want to thank Hero Forge. We want to thank Twitch. We want to thank all of the streaming softwares and platforms we use, YouTube, Facebook, everything there.
OBS.
Exactly. Um, any of those that we might be using at this point in time, Roll20 and Zoom.
Twitter, Twitch, or Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram's the one I keep forgetting about. I love Instagram, looking at the photos and stuff online, but I can never remember it with all the other ones that are currently floating. There's Reddit out there now too. I've got to learn more about, I guess. So
Tumblr.
I don't even know what that is yet. So see, I'm getting old. That's the problem. All right, so stay tuned. We are talking about possibly starting up a TikTok soon as well. So that'll be kind of interesting and fun to get in on. So stay tuned. We will be bringing you more fun